Hi, I'm Kaylee with Biscuitfloof Studios. I crochet and make cute Samoyed art based on, as you can see, this one and this one. She just had surgery, so she's a little unhappy right now. But yeah, I'm gonna be tabling at my first artist alley at Anime Washington. This is the first time I've done any in-person event trying to sell my art, so I'm really excited to see how it goes. So tonight we're gonna bring in what we can. I have tote bags in here along with the bigger plush. Over here we have sticker books. Don't mind my house, it's kind of a mess right now. We have keychains, lanyards, our grid walls, the shelving for the prints, and then most everything else is in that box. We'll have some larger prints and then everything we need to organize everything on the table, along with my display boards for stickers. And yeah, these two are going to be very mad when we leave them tonight to go set up. We're on the way to Loden, and it's pouring rain. This is our setup for the night. Tomorrow we'll bring in all the plushies and the shirts and finish off the display on the left side. Day one of the con, it's 7:45. We wanted to leave here a little earlier to make sure we have enough time to set up, but I guess we'll see what happens now. We're supposed to be there and ready by 9 a.m., but I think we'll still make it. It's also pouring rain again. So in the back we have big prints, lanyards, sticker books, keychains, tote bags, shirts, stickers. Lots of stuff crammed back here. So we finished Anime Washington, got my first convention down, so that's exciting. We started Friday night essentially to Sunday. Friday was load-in, and then Saturday was 9:30 to 7, and Sunday was 9:30 to 5. So I just kind of wanted to recap how this weekend went. Friday was load-in, so we got there around 7 p.m. We had to go after work, but they were open all day so that vendors could come in and set up throughout the day. When we got there around 7, it wasn't too busy. Parking was really easy, load-in was really easy. The garage went straight into the convention center, and then you just take an elevator up to the 5th floor. Our booth was over on the far wall. We were facing a wall, so I was a little worried at first that there might not be as much traffic coming through that section, but I was definitely proven wrong. So we were able to set up most of our booth within 30 minutes to an hour. I don't think our setup was that complex, plus I had my husband with me to help, so he was able to put together half the table, I put together the other half. So yeah, we got most of that set up. We brought in our sticker books, our stickers, prints, keychains, and stored those under the table. And then we set up the display for all the plush, but we didn't bring those in until the next day. So we got in there, got everything mostly set up so that we wouldn't be too rushed in the morning on Saturday. They had Saturday load-in time starting at 7, so if you weren't able to get there the night before, you could go in early on Saturday to set up. We ended up getting there probably around 8:30. The doors opened at 9:30 for VIPs and 10 for general public. So we were told to be ready at our booths at 9 a.m. To be honest, I don't know how strict it really is. This is my first convention, so I wasn't sure how all the rules there work, but we probably could have been ready by 9:30 instead of 9. But the extra time just meant we had more time to kind of play around with our setup and make sure everything was organized how we wanted it to be. So at 9:30, it wasn't too busy. A handful of VIPs. But once the doors opened at 10, I think from like 10:30 to, I want to say 2 o'clock, it was really busy. It started to feel like there was just like a nonstop flow of foot traffic going past our booth. And a lot of people were drawn in because I had a big Totoro plushie at my table, just in the middle of the table. So that drew in a lot of attention, which then people would start looking at my stuff, and it was pretty cool seeing everyone. For my plush, by around 2 p.m., we were pretty much sold out. Within the first couple hours, I think we sold pretty much all my evolutions that I made, along with all my lower priced items. And by midday, we were sold out of like everything else too. The only things that didn't sell this weekend were the big Totoro and the big Haku, but both of those I wasn't necessarily expecting to sell just because they were at a higher price point. But they did draw in a lot of attention just because they were bigger eye-catching pieces. So yeah, Saturday around 2 p.m. I ran out of plush, like I said, and I decided to run home to go get some yarn to try and make a few more. Half our table was plushies, and without them it looked very, very empty. So I had to go back anyway to feed the dogs. It was a really long day to leave them alone, so I ran home and took care of the dogs and grabbed a bunch of yarn in a backpack and rushed back in. Luckily I only live like 30 minutes away, so it wasn't too difficult to get back and forth. By the time I came back to, there was more parking closer to the doors. We had to park up on the 4th floor in the morning just because there were a lot of vendors and everyone who got there before us. And so around 3 p.m. is 3:30 is when I got back, and the foot traffic had definitely died down. The convention went until 7, which honestly felt a little too long in my opinion, because between like 4 to 7 p.m. the traffic was very, very slow. Everyone came by in the morning, but by afternoon it felt like everyone had left already. But we still got a couple sales here and there, so it wasn't too bad. But in that time, I was able to make a couple more Umbreons, and they sold immediately. So I finished one and put it out on the table, and literally within like 10 minutes, someone had bought it. And I was in the process of making a shiny Umbreon, and someone walked by and asked what I was making and if he could just purchase it then and there. So I let him buy it and then told him to come back in about 10-15 minutes when it would be done, and he came by later to come pick it up. So the plush sell quite well. I think part of it was I had lower prices on Saturday, since this was my first time selling. I had multiple people tell me that I should raise my prices, so on Sunday I decided to test that out, and I increased the prices on most of my stuff just to see how it would sell. We made a pretty good profit on Saturday, so Sunday was more for my benefit of learning what I should sell for and how I should sell. It was a really good experience, and we priced the Evolutions a little higher, $10 higher, and those still sold very quickly. So Saturday night, I was making as many plushies as I could. I was up till 3 in the morning making more plushies, and I was able to finish a few. I had an in-progress box that I had a bunch of crochet projects that I was halfway done with, but couldn't find the motivation to finish until now. But I finished all of those, so I was able to get a few pieces out. So then Sunday, we went a little early still because we wanted to modify our display just based on what we had observed. I changed the setup so that all the grid walls and all the displays were on one plane, meaning when you look forward, they're all in the front facing direction. We had some off to the side facing in toward the table, which I think made it hard to see some of the product. So we adjusted that to see if that would change anything for Sunday. So Saturday and Sunday were both sold out. So Sunday, it was pretty similar in terms of foot traffic. It was much heavier in the morning and then slowed down a bit in the afternoon. Although Sunday, I felt like there were a lot more people who came in and would look at stuff and grab your business card and say they would come back later. I don't know how many of those actually converted into sales, but I felt like Saturday there were a lot more people who were just buying more quickly. Maybe it was because I had more plush too, and then they didn't want to miss out on those. But yeah, in terms of sales, Sunday was much slower in sales than Saturday. But again, that's because I was out of like half my product because it all sold on Saturday. I did learn quite a bit in terms of kind of what art people are looking for. A lot of my sticker books did pretty well, and I did sell like stickers, sticker sheets, prints. But I think there's a bit of difficulty selling OCs sometimes. So my OC is Biscuit, the Samoyed, and I have him drawn in like as cosplaying as different characters and different styles. But I had a lot of people come up and comment on how cute it was and how my art style was cute and everything, but nothing really, there weren't as many conversions. It was just a lot of comments about Biscuit being cute. So going forward, I'm thinking of doing some more actual fan art, which is honestly something I've been exploring already, but now this kind of validated that maybe this is the direction I should go. I'll still have Biscuit, my OC, sprinkled in and have different products of him, but I think I'm also going to add in like more Pokemon art and some anime art. But yeah, overall for the con, expense-wise, it was very low for me just because it was a local con. So the booth fee was $180, and then we paid an extra $10 or $15 for a chair, a second chair that we never got. I don't know if we missed a memo on where to get the chair or how to get it, but we ended up just bringing an extra folding chair, and I forgot we paid for it until the end of the day anyway. But it was okay, I guess. And then parking was very easy at this convention too. The convention center has a few levels of parking, and then they share a parking lot with the Marriott. So we were able to go up to like level 4 on Saturday because there was no parking on the convention levels. But parking was only $12 per day, and it was only a 2-day convention, so that was $24 for parking, which is not too bad considering we're in the greater Seattle area. And then the rest of our expenses were really just food and coffee. I drank a lot of coffee just because I had been up all night prepping both nights. And then food we ended up getting whatever we could in terms of lunch and dinner just because if we were home, we would have cooked. So I'm counting that into my expenses for this event. But yeah, I think that was pretty much it for expenses for me. Yeah, and then in terms of profit, we did make about 6.57 times our expenses, which was pretty good in my opinion, especially for our first event. I honestly didn't know what to expect. This was my first time tabling anywhere. I haven't sold any of my stuff in person yet. This was also a first year con, so I didn't know how popular it would be or what the attendance would look like. I was very excited that both days sold out. I don't really know what the capacity was, but it felt like a lot of people during the day. So yeah, that was it. It turned out pretty well in my opinion. I would definitely do it again, especially being local. But even there were quite a few people who flew in from out of state, and I mean I can't say for sure, but it seemed like everyone was pretty happy in general with how the con went. But yeah, this was a great first event for me to kind of learn and figure out what I'm going to be doing going forward with Biscuitfloof. And yeah, I hope this helps anyone trying to decide if this con is something they want to do next year. And also, I met so many amazing artists this time around. I followed a lot of people in terms of just seeing how, just in the community, and it was pretty cool meeting a lot of these people in person. All the artists and exhibitors were super nice. I think it's a great community, which is something I had heard about, but again, this being my first time doing anything related to art, it was a really cool experience. So yeah, hopefully I'll see everyone at Anime Washington 2025.